I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, it is that time when I am duty bound to say a very pleasant evening to my Straight Talk family, wherever you are in the world. I say good night to the world, and I say a very special night to St. Kitts and Nevis, a very special night to the entire Caribbean region. Yes, I can say good night to the world because we are on the World Wide Web, my Straight Talk family, and we are reaching and touching you all over the globe, wherever you are, my Straight Talk family. We can say good night, we can say good morning, and we can say good evening, because one of such greetings is applicable to the region in which you now find yourself. Some of you are in Africa, there's some of you in Europe, and there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I am at liberty to extend such greetings. And I always like to reach and touch the newcomers, the first timers, I would call them. And I want to thank those who continue to share the link and invite our fellow Kittitians and Liburdians in the diaspora, wherever you are. So let them keep abreast with what's happening in the country of their birth. And on this program, for the first timers, we provide a forum where you can express yourselves freely. We discuss all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. Political issues seem to always take the fore in this country for reasons that are most times understandable. But on this program, you can express yourselves freely. On this program, we try to raise the level of national discourse. We try to raise the level of national consciousness by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I thank Almighty God for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And just for the first time, as Straight Talk comes your way every Monday and Thursday night from 8 to 10 in the PM. And as your host, I continue to pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness, as I am always reminded of the words of a favorite hymn of mine, which an excerpt goes something like this: we are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and right, standing firm for godly justice, bringing evil things to light. Let us seek the courage needed, our high calling to fulfill, that we may all know the blessing of the doing of God's will. So my Straight Talk family, and especially for you, the first timers, and those who are with me from time immemorial, you will know by now that absolutely nothing is watered down on this program. We don't try to make it more interesting, neither by omission or by exaggeration. Straight Talk is not about sensationalism. We are not about creating excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy, because we always lean on the facts. Because I consider it my bounden duty to always present the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance in St. Kitts and Nevis. And this program joins us together with people across our federation. Through this program, we are joined with people in the diaspora all around the world. And I not only say Kittitian and Nevisian, I should say Caribbean diaspora as well. Because some we know very well, and some we have met. Others we do not know, and many we will never meet. Some will agree with the positions of truth advanced on Straight Talk, and some will disagree. And that's fine, my Straight Talk family, that's fine, because we promote what I call a diversity in our views. We are different people, so obviously we do have different views, and nothing is wrong with that. We entertain all shapes and all kinds of views, as long as they are objective and as long as they are based on the fact. But I'll have some difficulty if, my Straight Talk family, we ever start to become disagreeable. So let us thank Almighty God, nonetheless, for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us hope and pray for the day when we will all sing his praise together. So welcome once again, my people, and thanks for those who continue to share the link as you bring first-timers. Please continue to do so. For the first-timers, I must also inform you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls and your emails, and the numbers are on your screen. They are 663-6672, that's a local number, or 646-829-6672. You have access to the local numbers as well, but just, of course, if you're calling from outside of St. Kitts and Nevis, then all you do is add the area code, which is 869-66-36672. And as well, I must remind our Alexa family that we do as well give you access via our Alexa, and once you hail Alexa, ask for Massive Vibes Radio, and you will get you there. There are those who like what I call the cloak of anonymity as well, and we give you access via our email platform, and that address is also listed on your screen. Those who want to hide behind the keyboard, just be respectful, just be truthful as well. not because we don't hear your voice. We want you to be factual when it comes to straight talk. We talk straight, but we talk the truth, like I said, my Straight Talk family. I also like to hail my young Straight Talk Junior Brigade, I call them, and hail young Dwayne. He always said, ma. I don't know if Dwayne has started to speak. Tristan normally reminds his mom. Shama over there in Frigate Bay. Kevin over there in Nevis. Young Rue Costa over there in South Carolina. And my Straight Talk family, Jamal in Anguilla. Travis and Trevon from over there in Ponds Extension. And I believe school started today, Travis and Trevon. And Shama and Kevin as well. I trust Rue and Tristan all as doing well in school. My good special lady in St. Louis, we are waiting for you. Everybody is waiting for you, I can tell you. On a sad note, my Straight Talk family, I learned of the passing this morning. I don't want to tell you the story because we learned of the passing of Adrian Lamb. We have heard has gone to the great beyond, and Adrian tried to call me last week, and I furiously returned the call, and it just went to a voicemail. I never heard him that day. He never called back, but perhaps he was saying goodbye. That's my only conclusion. And I played music with Adrian many moons ago. I'm sure many of you would not have heard of Modern Image with the late Bruce Skerritt. Adrian was on the bass, Bruce, of course, on the keyboards, and Crepito. Maynard there on the drums. We played at the original Royal St. Kitts Hotel over there, the Poolside Lounge it was called. And that used to be some good times. But Adrian, we understand, has gone to the great beyond. We extend our condolences to our sister Sandra and his entire family, my Straight Talk family. And I want to say that death is a process. And all those who have lost loved ones, we heard that the matriarch of the Samuel family from over there in the McKnight area, the mother of Samuel there from Ponds Pasture, that your mom has passed on, and we extend condolences to that family as well. And for the first times in particular, the format of each show is like this. We consider our observations in review, after which we present a dissertation or a short thesis. And the title of my thesis or short dissertation tonight is Troubling Consequences from the 2022 elections. Yes, I repeat that, troubling consequences from the 2022 elections, my Straight Talk family. But our observations and review are an integral part of Straight Talk, after which I will normally move into my thesis, following which I then include your calls and your emails, as mentioned earlier, to allow your full participation. And our observations and review is the time when we highlight the current issues and do some reflection on what was accomplished, how it has helped others, what has changed. And we ask the questions, what can be expected next? What have we learned as a people? Because yes, it's a learning process. And before I even move into my observations, before I really overlook this, we do have, as a public service announcement, the People's Labour Party will host its monthly press conference tomorrow, Tuesday, April 23rd at 4 in the p.m. at the Marriott, I think it's at the Marriott Ballroom. So be advised, and you spread the word that the People's Labour Party press conference will be convened tomorrow, or will be aired tomorrow, and it will stream tomorrow, whichever time we want to use. And the venue is at the Marriott St. Kitts Hotel. That's at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Just keep in touch and get abreast with the objectivity of our third Prime Minister, who everybody is saying is missing because of what's happening. And we're talking about the consequences, or the troubling circumstances, troubling consequences rather, from the 2022 election. Did I say circumstances? If I said so, it should be troubling consequences. Yes, consequences from the 2022 elections. And our first observation tonight, I looked at the headlines in one of our local newspapers, one of our journals. I think it's the Observer. I think that's the one I saw. It had the headlines, Historic Maritime Delimitation Agreement signed between St. Kitts and Nevis and the Netherlands. And according to the Observer News, the agreement establishes clear boundaries, aiding in regulating fishing activities and safeguarding marine resources in both countries. To be specific, that's Netherlands, or Sabre and Statia, governed by the Netherlands government administration. They are a country, Dutch country as they're called. One of the Dutch countries are governed by the Netherlands. And this agreement should foster cooperation to combat illegal fishing, thus ensuring sustainability and ecosystem health. And the agreement was signed by Stray Dog family on the 4th of April 2024 by Permanent Secretary in the Ministry with responsibility for Maritime Affairs, Tivana Wharton, and His Excellency Cornelis Herbach, Ambassador Designate of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and this was signed, I must say, under the cover of secrecy and unknown to the fisher folk of St. Kitts and Nevis. And that's a hallmark, I should say, of this administration. They tout transparency, but everything is done in the dark. And this important agreement establishes clear boundaries, aiding in regulating fishing activities and safeguarding marine resources in both countries, St. Kitts and Nevis and in Sabre and St. Eustatius. It's all about ensuring sustainability and ecosystem health. But how many of us, for example, my Stray Dog family, are even aware that the Spencer brothers some years ago were arrested by the Statia Coast Guard for quote-unquote illegal fishing in the Statia territorial waters, Jack and Mark Spencer. And without being too technical, now, maritime delimitation is a process that involves the division of maritime areas in a situation where two or more states have competing claims, in this case, St. Eustatius, Sabre, and St. Kitts Nevis. And for both states, this act implies restriction of perceived sovereign rights. In the situation, the main interests of the Dutch island station Sabre regarding the delimitation of the maritime zones beyond the territorial sea Example, the continental shelf, the exclusive economic zone, EEZ, and the fishery zone. And they all are related to the economic benefits to be derived from the exploitation of the resources in those maritime zones. So under a cloud of silence, the permanent secretary signs away, my straight dog family. And I repeat that, the permanent secretary signs away the rights of our fisher folk after centuries of access to the Sabre Bank. And many of the fisher folks from the western side of the islands must know or be familiar with the Sabre Bank. And we don't know what has been lost in terms of access to that fishing zone. But if centuries, if our fisher folk have been to that area for centuries, and the FAO and the IMO have a precedence in terms of that particular issue on maritime delimitation. But directly influencing the course of delimitation line adopted is the importance of fisheries resources, just as you will find a number of delimitation agreements. And St. Eustatius and St. Kitts are just some 11 miles apart. So how do we establish the territorial waters and the zones? And there must be some give and take. In particular, the accommodation of fisheries interests must play a role either as an element agreed to simultaneously before or after the maritime boundary delimitation. And I haven't pulled up, but there is a signed petition, I believe, by some 73 or 83 fisher folk from St. Kitts and Nevis. I ran out of time tonight, but I'll get back to this. But why was this signed under the cover of darkness? And who advised the ministry? Who advised the ministry? And these are issues that always come to the fore, and this administration just seemed to brush them under the carpet. Is it because of a lack of knowledge? Is it because of incompetence? But we are soon going to sign away St. Kitts and Nevis. Our second observation, I just want to briefly touch it. It relates to the Social Security Board's financial statements. I looked at their site and I have not seen the statement since 2020. And I am aware that the 2021 and 2022 statements have not been tabled in Parliament. And Prime Minister Drew is the Minister with responsibility for Social Security. And I ask you, PM Drew, to follow the legislation. The law dictates. The law states quite clearly that financial statements of the Social Security Board shall be tabled in the Parliament, and it gives the time factor. On our third observation, the Prime Minister went to TikTok to confirm, my straight dog family, that he was enjoying his honeymoon in Dubai at the expense of we, the taxpayers. And how much longer can the country tolerate this callous behavior of the head of government, who spends more time outside the country rather than inside the country? And to add insult to injury, as it is said colloquially, our young men are being gunned down in broad daylight, while the Prime Minister and his newly found wife are enjoying themselves in distant land. Believe it or not, my straight dog family, They're enjoying themselves in this
Excellency,
town.
what do you do for a living?
Hi, how are you?
I'm all good. How's everything?
Well, I'm the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Wow, I
Yes.
love it. That's amazing. How's the stay here in Dubai?
Well, so far I've been enjoying myself. We had some extra rain. People are nice. The country is nice. And I'm enjoying myself. And I'm here with my lovely wife.
Oh, that's beautiful. Nice meeting you, Excellency. Amazing.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Enjoying himself in distant land on his 10 or 11 day honeymoon. And that is the head of government that we have in this country. And my Straight Dog family, as I put in observation in the meantime, the Prime Minister did not even have the common decency to extend condolences to the families of the 3 young men who were shot down, my Straight Dog family, or shot to death in Basseterre. But he sends congratulations to Jeffrey Hanley, who signed a $40 million loan, and they give the impression that it's some sort of grant funding, but they got a $40 million loan from the Saudi Development Fund. And there was quite a lot of chatter. There's quite a lot of chatter about renewable energy and local ownership, my Straight Dog family, local ownership into the La Clanche solar development. So would it not have been better to use the US $40 million to own at least 49% of that company? It's moved from 80 million to 85 million. But instead of that, they frustrate the project and they're now moving into to 80 megawatts of fossil fuel generators. It's so complicated, so controversial, it's so contradictory, perhaps is a better word to use, my Straight Dog family, that you're talking about renewable energy, but you're still moving into procuring 18 megawatts of fossil fuel generators. And that is contradictory, like I said. And we know what the special advisor to the Prime Minister has publicly stated about the solar farm project that was negotiated by the Team Unity administration. And he said he had the common sense and sense of mind and truth within to say this, my Straight Dog family.
It is a good project based on our own studies, calling in the expertise from right in the Caribbean to assess. It's a good project. Mm-hmm. They feel that it was properly assessed and the costing was within the range of what it would cost anyway to do that.
And that's my Straight Dog family. That's the issue one has with this incompetent administration. And just a thought, as the action by this administration to borrow over $100 million EC to be spent on 18 megawatts of fossil fuel generators seems quite contradictory, while still promoting, my Straight Dog family, while still promoting geothermal and solar energy development. One thought every government would strive to build resiliency in this era of climate change, but not this Drew Lai administration. And those are my observations in review for tonight, my Straight Dog family. And I move right into my thesis, as I mentioned earlier. My thesis I have titled Troubling Circumstances, Troubling Consequences, beg your pardon, Troubling Consequences from the 2022 elections. Troubling Consequences from the 2022 elections. That's the title of my thesis tonight, my Straight Dog family. And I cite the unethical governance of the Federation as being foremost in the minds of citizens and residents, as the promises made by this Labour administration, whilst in opposition, overemphasize issues such as good governance, integrity, and accountability. And whether we voted or not, a lot of other issues continue to impact us all negatively, like housing, health, education, the economy, and of course, we must never, or we can never omit the scourge of crime. As we have seen from the undeniable facts, 21 months thereafter are troubling consequences from the August 2022 elections. There is a great fear that these consequences that are being felt today, 21 months after the election, if not properly addressed without delay, they will ultimately, I should say, become a burden for our children and our children's children in the months and the years that lie ahead. Instead of a team filled with experts, according to the Prime Minister, and remember he said this very early after the elections. Remember when he said this, my Straight Dog family?
I'm tremendously proud of this team. This team is filled with experts in various fields. Any field you might call, there's an expert here, somebody who is well versed in that area, even more versed than me. And that's a good thing. So if I talk about sustainable development, you have Dr. Joya Clark. If I speak to youth and women affairs, you have Honorable Iselin. If I speak about small business and entertainment and agriculture, Honorable Samuel Duggins, well established. If I speak about energy and engineering and so forth, the Honorable Conwys Maynard. If I speak about the law, it's a given, or our AGS. When I speak about the tourism product and the advancement of labor laws and so forth, we have our learned honorable who is a lawyer. When I speak about experience in government, we have our senior minister. When I speak about education, and I mean, when you talk about empowering of the youth and community development, we have our deputy prime minister, the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley. And so this team is a serious team.
A serious team. But instead of a team filled with experts, as declared, someone commented that the 2022 elections have produced a team of incompetent buffoons who do not have a clue what they are doing. Another comment that I have heard suggests that this team led by Dr. Drew have come across as a bunch of annoyingly and shallow leaders who are so unprepared and inappropriate to be at the helm of this country during these difficult moments in our history. And what can you expect? Someone asks. Well, another one declared, just listen to the Deputy Prime Minister, and that would summarize the miserable performance of this Labour administration since the 2022 elections. Listen to the Deputy Prime Minister, someone suggested. He said this.
I told you how I started off as a slow student. I went to 1A4, 2A4, 3G7, 4G6, 5th form, 5G6. And guess what? I repeated. So I was in school for quite a while.
And my Straight Talk family, this government is not only slow, it is topsy-turvy and so poorly organized and continues to give importance to unexpected things. Take, for example, my Straight Dog family, our health system. My Straight Dog family. The Joseph N. France General Hospital has been under public scrutiny as a result of its deteriorating condition and service since Dr. Drew assumed the health portfolio. But instead of procuring the MRI machine, which was already budgeted by the Tim Harris Team Unity Administration, but not installed after 2 years. But here's this. He has placed priority on repairing the morgue. You believe that, my Dog family? Yes, he did.
The morgue was in dilapidated condition. I'm sure if any of you would have gone there because of investigative purposes and you see the morgue, you'll be so disappointed. Somebody told me once they're standing in the morgue and the water coming through the roof, dropping down in the morgue. We have put an end to that.
Yes, he has placed priority on reparation works to the morgue. But the morgue, my Dog family, without attempting to insult your intelligence and knowledge, it is a place in the hospital where dead bodies are kept. Come to think of it, and this we must ask ourselves. Did Dr. Drew predict that these senseless murders were going to take place? So he repaired the morgue? And that is a fair question, as the most troubling of these election consequences is crime. In 2022, Prime Minister Terence Michael July inherited a crime rate, my Straight Dog family, at its lowest in over 20 years because of the alternative lifestyle arrangement, commonly known as the Peace Initiative, or as some people call it, the Peace Program. It started, my Straight Dog family, in 2019.
The strategy involved started on the 13th of March 2019, and it's commonly referred to, as you know, as the Peace Initiative. We offer quite a number of opportunities for the at-risk group. Project development, business opportunities, they can access loans. A lot of them are into apprenticeships at this particular moment in time. They are the normal work routines, learning trades, and for obviously educational opportunities and the like. Persons who have been on for some time and who have accessed these opportunities have now started to move off the program to take up or to spend more time in the actual business venture that they have adopted. And that is always a good sign, as it makes way for anybody else who might be interested in coming onto the program or who merits coming onto that particular program.
So, introduced in 2019, but there were 2 murders when Terence Michael Drew assumed the office of Prime Minister and Minister of National Security on the 6th of August 2022. So in 8 months, there were 2 murders for 2022. But by the end of 2022, there were 10 murders, which means that 8 murders took place under Drew for the remaining 4 months of 2022. Drew promised to reduce crime that time to single digits, having inherited 2 murders in 2022. He promised to reduce these figures to single digits.
We are happy that crime statistics have continued to be at an all-time low, particularly in terms of gang-related homicides. The Ministry of National Security has set as a target the downward trend in homicide from the previous 15-year low of 10 to a single digit.
And my Straight Talk family, lo and behold, it was an empty promise. As he dismantled the architecture he met, and murders skyrocketed to 31 in 2023. In 3.5 months in 2024, that trend continues, because as of 18th April 2024, our country, where peace once abounded, now has bodies riddled with bullets, hiding, lying dead on our streets.
You see, long time ago, we used to got police patrolling the road. The police patrolling the road now. Yeah, man, then coming around in the Jeep and night time, picking on the wrongs of people. I mean, people talk like they want to bang them up and all that kind of thing there. But me can't tell me I talk like I'm near playing nobody, you know. Ain't that's what police was me play one Pacific car.
And this is what's happening, my Straight Talk family. Because Drew disbanded the national security architecture he met in place. He never consulted the Commissioner of Police, Hilroy Brandy, in the months prior to his retirement. Worse yet, he snubbed the National Security Advisor, Major General Saunders, for the months prior to the end of his contract in 2023. Never had a meeting. Not one meeting was convened with the National Security Advisor by the new Minister of National Security and Prime Minister, who assumed office in 2022. The National Security Advisor, Major General Saunders, could have helped in a smooth transition and could have provided advice. Instead of that, he peddles his nonsense about people paying peace program recipients.
Perhaps I should make it quite clear that as far as this particular initiative that I am responsible for executing, so to speak, is concerned, there are no payments being made to gangs. There are no payments for guns, and there are no transactions that have not been properly costed and approved. Right? So when people receive payments, they are receiving payments for something that has been costed, approved, and verified as having been done to a satisfactory standard.
My Straight Talk family, but Terence Michael Drew had his plan from day one to appoint his father-in-law, Lionel Wussy Rollins, and he did. And Wussy smiled his way into the National Security Advisor's position with a contract we're told for $20,000 per month, $240,000 per year, housing and other perks, plus a brand new 2024 SUV valued at over $200,000. Sergeant Wussy replaced a Major General, a University of the West Indies lecturer and former permanent secretary in Jamaica, who did a commendable job while in St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, for full disclosure, the National Security Advisor Wussy Rollins is my friend and former bandmate. An accomplished saxophonist, he played the saxophone, but I am not familiar with his academic achievements, whatever they are. But I always present the unvarnished truth. And it is obvious, my Straight Talk family, that the Prime Minister, who is Minister of National Security, and his National Security Advisor are at variance when it comes to tackling this scourge of crime that has infested St. Kitts and Nevis. The Prime Minister and Minister of National Security views crime as a public health issue, my Straight Talk family.
We sought to look at crime and violence from a public health perspective. It is a broad concept, but is a concept that has been well studied scientifically and will deliver results. The scientific approach to it so that we can achieve what we want to achieve.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, much can be gleaned from the comments of the National Security Advisor Wussy, who sees crime from a mathematical perspective. My Straight Talk family, he said this.
And when that happens, For example, we know that there was a murder in John Street, and the next night, the next day, in less than 24 hours, there was another. We could mathematically predict that by using mathematical sequencing, but it's also obvious. And the second.
So, the Minister of National Security and his son-in-law sees crime from a public health perspective, and the National Security Advisor does mathematical sequencing. But much to the disgust, I should say, of the Commissioner of Police, James Sutton, the National Security Advisor, Wusi Rollins, does not subscribe to the crime detection efforts of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, it seems, my stray dog family.
For 2024, we have had 11 homicides. How many assailants have been caught to date?
Out of the 11 homicides that have been committed thus far, 4 have been solved. With regard to the recent homicides, 1 person is already in custody for questioning in regard. We are searching for another person of interest in that regard.
And my stray dog family, yes, in terms of the other consequences, we can look at housing. In the housing sector, we were promised some 2,400 houses. For 2023, only 2 were constructed. We can think of increased poverty, the PAP. More people have been kicked off the PAP, and its reorganization, revamping is a secret. We can think of the CBI, my street dog family, and that's really, we've dropped from our number 1 position in the OECS to number 4. We can think of agriculture, my street dog family. And we ask ourselves, they've borrowed $40 million from the Saudi Development Fund to finance fossil fuel generation. I said that earlier. If not buying into renewable energy like the solar farm, why not borrow the $40 million US dollars to provide financing for the agricultural sector? The Minister of Agriculture, Samuel, announced an ambitious goal to reduce our food import bill by 25% by 2025. That's next year. And I say virtually impossible, because there's no support for farmers across the country that would help them to reach development goals that would facilitate access to social services, improve food security, and lead to sustained and inclusive economic growth. Ironically, from the Sustainable Development Fund of Saudi Arabia, there are 97 projects and programs in total that are funded by the Saudi Development Fund, 72 in Africa and 25 in Asia. And that's agricultural projects, and not 1 in the Caribbean. There are tangible developments or development impacts that can derive from these projects, my street dog family, agricultural projects. For example, we can improve the efficiency of agricultural production, ensure sustainable food security, achieve food self-sufficiency while reducing reliance on imported food, increasing access to regional and global markets and trade, and of course, improving the standard of living. But my street dog family, in conclusion, ethical governance and more general issues like housing and public education will directly impact all of us, whether or not we did exercise our franchise and vote. But elections have consequences, and this was a proposition made by former President Obama. But it's the words of another former president that resonate with me 21 months after the 6th of August 2022, our last election day. Yes, the words of President John F. Kennedy, who said, "The ignorance of one voter in a democracy impairs the security of all." Our democracy has failed us, my Straight Dog family, since August 2022. As the new July administration introduced a new system of government, I posited this view before. A new system of government by less than half of the population and not by the whole population. Think about democracy. They say democracy is a system of processing conflicts in which outcomes depend on what participants do. No single force controls what occurs or what are the outcomes. So I must end this thesis with the National Security Advisor. And remember, he told us that he spoke to the gang leaders. The National Security Advisor said to the country that he spoke to two gang leaders. He said this, my Straight Dog family.
Days ago, I spoke with two young men. They are basically guys from the gang subculture and some of the leaders in the gang subculture. What did he tell me? He said, when he was a boy, he knew he was going to be a gangster. When he was a boy, he knew he was going to be a gangster. When I asked him, how did you know you're going to be a gangster? He said everybody wanted to be in a gang. All the guys who had guns and cars had the girls and had the money. I knew that's what I wanted. Today, he's one of the leaders in the gangs. He and his friend. Didn't anybody notice that these guys were going to be gangsters?
My Straight Dog family, the National Security Advisor, Wusi Rollins, told us what the gang leaders told him. But ask yourselves the question, what did the National Security Advisor say to the gang leaders? What did the NSA tell the gang leaders? The NSA obviously said this to the gang leaders, my Straight Dog family. He told them that the buck stops with him, my Straight Dog family. Now, the Ministry of National Security is headed by a permanent secretary. And we understand they now have an acting permanent secretary. And this was announced by the hostess of the conference. She said this.
Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, Mr. Glenroy Blanchett.
That was a bit soft. I trust you've heard it. She recognized the acting permanent secretary in the Ministry of National Security, Glenroy Blanchett. We understand that the incumbent Cecile Hull has been placed on leave upon the request of the National Security Advisor. We are still tracking that story. But I find it somewhat bothersome when one considers that the Constitution is very clear when it comes to permanent secretaries. But I'll get back to that, my Straight Dog family. But the National Security Advisor said to the gang leaders that the buck stops with him. He said this, my Straight Dog family.
National Security Advisor, crime and violence is just one of the many areas of my portfolio. falling under my portfolio is basically anything that affects the safety and security of the Federation falls under my responsibility. So, health security, energy security, water security, food security, cyber security, human security, immigration, anything that affects us falls under my capacity. But right now we have in a situation where our crime and violence is not doing so well. I'm going to take full responsibility for that because it falls onto me, and as the person at the top, leadership says I will take responsibility.
The buck stops with the man at the top. And you realize or you recognize, my Straight Talk family, the National Security Advisor speaks about his portfolio. Sounds like a minister, a nominated minister. But remember, my Straight Talk family, that the National Security Advisor predicted this, my Straight Talk family.
If we had one murder a month for 2024, as terrible as it sounds, we will only have 12.
So my Straight Talk family, it stands to reason to ensure that he keeps within his target. The National Security Advisor inadvertently spilled his beans, and as if he was high on joy juice or some mind-altering substance, he said this, my Straight Talk family, and I'm sure the country will never ever forget this.
If you know that you're involved in the murder of someone, I would encourage you to borrow some money, buy an airline ticket, and leave the island, because it's going to cause us problems. That's as bluntly as I could say it.
And my Straight Talk family, would you believe, before that, the National Security Advisor warned not to take his words out of context. He said this:
there are people who I believe maybe they go to bed at nights hoping and wishing that somebody will get killed so they can openly rejoice about it. We should be in pain when somebody gets killed. When one of our young men is murdered, we shouldn't be exploiting it for political expediency or for whatever reason. And I'm sure by the end of the day, you will see some quote about what I said taken out of context and used for some kind of political expediency.
Taken out of context. But my Straight Talk family, this time, however, the NSA ran to a friendly radio station and tried to retract his nonsense announcement. My Straight Talk family, he said this:
Good day, citizens and residents. Lionel von Frederick Rollins is my name, and I am the National Security Advisor. During a press conference of the Ministry of National Security on Friday, April the 19th, I misspoke, and for that I apologize. What I intended to say was, if you are thinking about committing a murder, you should buy a plane ticket and leave the island. I will never encourage anyone or any criminal to abscond or flee from justice. Again, I apologize for the misunderstanding.
But think about it, my Straight Talk family. He was mature enough to apologize. But think about it. Isn't that a lame apology? Because it's not just encouraging any criminal to abscond, to use his words. Firstly, he condoned murder. He said, if you committed a murder, borrow money, Then he encouraged criminals to borrow money from the bank and run away. Well, who will pay the bank? And thirdly, he encouraged criminals to evade justice. But I submit that much more than an apology is needed, Mr. National Security Advisor and Mr. Minister of National Security and Prime Minister. And if he does not get more, then there will be an increase in the troubling consequences from the 2022 elections. That's my story for tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I am not going to change it. But I'll open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. I always like to remind you that when I do, I will do so momentarily. I anticipate that you will respect others, and of course to ensure that you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. And in the process, my Straight Talk family, let us ensure the things we say will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and or doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. At 6 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour, we go to the lines and say good night to our first caller. You are live on Straight Talk. Caller?
Mr. Liburd, how are you doing?
I am peaceful. So yourself?
I'm blessed as always. Tonight I listened to you about the National Security Advisor, and I reflect on when Major General Saunders, who I believe much people, persons would never even remember his name because his works was more popular than his name. He was so effective what he did and how he did it during the team administration. I reflect when, however, when he was brought in from Jamaica, and during his time in the force in Jamaica, there was some sort of riot. I think it was in the Tivoli Gardens. I forgot the name of the exact place in Jamaica.
Yeah, downtown Jamaica.
But yes, and there was some sort of commission that was held based on some action, it was said, that he took. And the then opposition used that to discredit that gentleman. However, he came and he did a superb job, and he should be commended. And I'm shocked to hear how Dr. Joe would have treated him just because he had the agenda. Yep. But Mr. Liburd, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not surprised with all of this. When Dr. Joe came in and he made your cousin the Governor General, I said to someone, I do not expect anything of this administration. If he's going to go down, and this administration is going down as one of the worst. If the head is not right, nothing is going to go right in the body. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. So, well, a fish, they say, normally stinks from the head. Let's go back to the lines. I call out.
Mr. Patrick, good night.
Good night, my Bible man. How art thou, sir?
Well, I'm fine, sir.
You're batting down the line tonight.
Well, I called because I thought you did not take my call. You did not take my call.
What's on your mind? What's on your mind, Bible man? Give me a Bible verse now. The lines are going, so I'm going to guide you by the rules of brevity.
Psalm 34, Mr. Patrick.
Psalm 34. That one has stumped me.
Psalm 34, Mr. Patrick.
Yeah, Psalm 34.
I will bless the Lord all times. His praise shall continue in my mouth.
Yes, yes.
My soul shall make a boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear it and be glad. Oh, magnify the Lord with me,
me.
Let us exalt his name together. I sought the Lord, and he heard me, and delivered me from all my fears. Day number 5, they looked upon him, and they were lightning, and their face was not ashamed. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him, and delivered him, and saved him out of all his trouble. Number 7, the angel of the Lord cometh around him. The angel of the Lord cometh around him, come around them that fear him and deliver him. Oh, taste and see the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusts in him. Oh, fear the Lord, ye saints, for there is no one that fear him.
Okay.
A young lion do not can suffer hunger, but the Lord shall deliver them out of them all. That is, I am read Psalm 34.
Okay.
And I don't want to stay too long. So good night.
Good night, my dear brother. Always grateful for your spiritual interventions and coming from the Psalms as usual. That one stumped me, the caller. Thank you for holding your life. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Yes, I am here.
Yeah, I'm not hearing you though. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, but just speak up to the phone, can you?
I have not to, like I used to. The family are happy at you.
Happy on what?
You. Check it.
I can hear you, but you're not speaking loud enough.
Okay. Let me call. I'll try it.
Yeah, could you try again? I'm sorry about that. Could you just call back and see if it's better? In the meanwhile, I'll take this other call. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
What is the present? Good evening.
Good evening, my dear. How art thou?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?
I am peaceful. I can see your dimples, and that makes me feel so good.
Lord, what is it?
All is well. All is well.
All is well. All is well. Yeah. When fellows they go overseas and they don't do so many hard work over there, I think they're supposed to bring back some cigar and go on top the porch and take a glass and a table on the porch and smoke the cigar and take a drink and relax yourself. Instead you have to come back down here, come work, and they ain't able. I just want to ask you one question. That man there they used to get in 20,000. I want to know if he just drink alcohol. He and the commissioner, because I listen to them and I really want to know if they're going off. There is people who getting so many money and can't deliver themselves. No, we're talking nonsense. And when I come back and talk about, he apologize for what? What come out of man mouth before anybody? He don't say it. He have nothing else to say but that.
Yep.
He need to get his cigar and he drink and go on the landing and leave the work. $20,000? Come on. Come on. Lord, oh, Lord, oh. Poor we in this country here. Poor we. Where are we going? Where are we going? Nowhere else to go. From the time that man there, where you put in, you put in his there, say here Prime Minister, and you see start to bring back everybody who wants wheelchair, pamper, and everything to work with, we know that we're going underwater. That's how it is. We underwater.
Okay.
The man ain't know what he doing. God up there go sharp. Say, it's my lovely wife, and what's that? The same lovely wife, they're going to make them go crazy. Have a pleasant night, Patrick.
Have a pleasant night as well. My dear, we go straight back to the lines at 9:15. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Yes, thank you, Patches. You hearing me now?
That's much better now. You seem to have got out of your foxhole. Or your stronghold.
When one number
your stronghold.
When one number don't work, another one work. I'm the man of numbers.
I'm happy,
anyway,
happy to hear.
Good night to all listeners. And in respect to what that lady just spoke and said, I will add to it, but I was going to start it. Listen, Bob Marley made a quote. You must think before you talk. Think before you talk. A man who was hired and who is hired in a situation like national security, he or him should have think before he talk and misspoke. To say that if you commit a crime, narrow it down to a murder, you must borrow some money, buy a plane ticket, and leave the country, and that will be less trouble. I mean, I could understand he realized that he misspoke, but that is harvesting fugitives, a crime that would have been unsolved, while someone live in sorrow and pain. He misspoke. And in that respect, I think he should resign just for that. I mean, sometimes we make mistakes and we learn by our mistake. Sometimes we get one chance, and based on how we are manage ourselves, which mismanage, you will suffer the consequences. But apologies accepted. But at the same time, that's gone beyond to, it's just like condoning a crime, a criminal activity. That is unacceptable.
Can I ask you a question? I'm really sorry to interrupt you. I'm really sorry to interrupt you. But he mentioned that he spoke with two gang leaders. All right?
Yes.
What you believe he said to those gang leaders? Don't you believe he told the gang leaders the same thing? Get out the country?
Well, one could anticipate that because he confessed that if they commit a crime, to leave, and not just the gang leader. Anyone who commits a crime, to avoid trouble, buy a ticket or flee. Flee the aftermath. Flee the consequences. Go and be a fugitive. But at the same time, if a gang leader come up in your face and have that kind of conversation, why would that gang leader do not held under some kind of scrutiny or observation? Because you're laying a person who is bold to say that in front of your face. So it's like, what kind of deterrence would you say to that gang leader or that perpetrator? Because right there in your face, I'm a perpetrator and I am a gang leader. So I don't know how to comprehend with that, but to tell you the truth, that is unacceptable. And he creates a situation that word will be taken into serious consideration. If someone make a crime and they flee, it will all reflect back. If national security advisor told me to flee, I will yield to that, and everyone who listening, think about that. That is unacceptable. Think before you talk. Sir, next time, Bye-bye for now.
Okay, thanks a lot for your contribution. And I am obviously, I do apologize for interrupting you, but that's part of it, is trying to get your particular view. Mr. Liburd reads this email. It would be far better if the National Security Advisor would have absented himself from the press conference, because what he said and nothing was the same. He should resign for messing up the whole conference with his incessant foolish utterances, like when he said sometime last year, if we could have one murder a month, that would be 12 at the end of the year. Now look at where we are. 11, and the year is not half as yet. Now this is what we get when you mix family, friend, and business. But yes, we were saying that the National Security Advisor did in fact say at the conference that he spoke with two gang leaders. But I'll get back to that. Let's go to the lines at 9:21. Call you live. Hello, call.
Hello?
Yes, you're live.
Yeah. Hello?
You are live.
Yeah. Okay.
Culture. You're live.
Sorry about that, Patrick. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, good evening, the world. This is not time to take out a spoonful of soup out of the pot. Because too many things in the pot there to eat. Let me say good night, Patches, again. No, Patches, you see why they don't like you and your program? Because you are obeying what the Bible says and what the Bible expects of you. Speak the truth at all times. And I so love your program. I tired get calls for the day. Now let me start with the $20,000 a month from the National Security Advisor. I believe that question that you just asked, Mr. Welcome there, what you believe he said? His only good Lord will tell me. He ain't said that to the two gang leaders. Because that is, if what he said was premeditated, well, no apology should be accepted from that. If he had said it impromptu, then you could accept apology for that. Because he just jump up at this point at the moment. But what you're going to tell me, he is getting $20,000 a month to be advisor to the National Security Office, and then he trying what you call runaway fertilizer, encouragement fertilizer for crime, that when you if you commit a crime, borrow some money, get a ticket and go away. He encouraging those who would be criminals and those who are criminals and haven't been caught as yet. Just borrow some money and run away. And you're getting $20,000, brother. And then coming on radio, come telling people about you apologize. Nobody gonna accept that. Anybody accept that foolishness from you about you apologize? They are worse than you. Anyway, Patches, I'll come back again, because me gonna leg a 3 shot here tonight. I'm gonna come back. So let me move the record. The 2 minutes gone so long.
Thank you very much. Yes, he said he spoke to the gang leaders, my Stray Dog family, and he said this about
days ago.
the gang
I spoke
leaders.
with 2 young men. They are basically guys from the gang subculture and some of the leaders in the gang subculture. What did he tell me? He said, when he was a boy, he knew he was going to be a gangster. When he was a boy, he knew he was going to be a gangster. When I asked him, how did you know you were going to be a gangster? He said everybody wanted to be in a gang. All the guys who had guns and cars had the girls and had the money. I knew that's what I wanted. Today, he's one of the leaders in the gangs, he and his friend. Didn't anybody notice that these guys were going to be gangsters?
Good question, my Stray Dog family. He said what the gang leaders told him. I wonder what he said to the gang leaders. That's a good question. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Yeah, Mr. Liburd, man. How you doing tonight, man?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. You know, I'm just listening to all this back and forth stuff, man. And this stuff doesn't really sound good at all, bro. You know, we be talking about a national issue called crime. And people all over the place is pointing fingers, blaming this way, that way. You know, making this stuff to be so political. You know, St. Kitts and Nevis is so small, man. I believe one family could have been running St. Kitts and Nevis, straight up. Forget about all the politics, man. One family, could have been running St. Kitts and Nevis. Population is down, and the two countries put together, not very small, not that big. You know, we so small, bro, as a country, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe we need a dictator, man. How would you like that, Mr. Patches? You want a dictator or what?
Don't we have one?
But yeah, man, but you know, we so naive as a people, man. You know what I mean? You know, we can't ignore this crime situation at all, man. You know, let me get to the juicy part of it, man. You know, you've been playing a clip about this national security advisor, right? The man said he want to allow 12 murders. You know what I mean? That statement in itself, man, is reckless, bro. And I don't know this guy really, but just listening to how this man talk, man, is so irresponsible, man. You know, you've been playing that clip about the 12 murders, right? The man said he will allow 12 murders, he'll permit 12 murders for this year, 1 per month. Well, we're knocking on that door hard right now. And we're in the 4th month still?
Yes.
Just gone over into the 2nd quarter.
Okay.
And, you know, here he comes with some silly talk again. You know what I mean? If this man know he was actually on the podium talking silly. You know what I mean? Talking about like people, he's worrying about what people is gonna say about his address to the nation which is being riddled with so much murders ever so often. That means his own confidence was down. Mm-hmm. And maybe Dr. Ju need to come back and just like fire this man straight up, man. Replace him. You know, we can't be sending that type of message to these gangsters, man. And what call he got going talking to these gang members, man? Who knows what the man got going on underground?
Okay.
You know, he's sending this message that he's sending globally, and then he's having private conversations with the gang members. Who knows what was all about? But me, man,
okay.
The reckless talk continues, man, and damage control is being tried to be done afterwards.
Too late.
You know, maybe too late, man. Okay. You want one thing about what you say out your mouth is hard to take back what you done said, man. And you know, you learn that in relationships, man.
Yep.
You don't dare say certain things to a woman and then think that you're gonna win that battle and win that argument.
Okay, my brother.
They're gonna come back at you like 100 years from now and tell you, man, remember what you said to me 100 years ago?
Okay.
They will never forget what you said to them, bro.
Okay.
But anyway, Patches, man, this crime thing is, you know, all hands on deck approach, man. Yep. It takes a collective effort, man. Community effort, everything. Yep. And I just hope that the people could get it together and take control back of the communities, man. We can't excuse the criminals, and we for sure can't excuse the government of the day. Some persons have the narrative that they're trying to excuse the government of the day out of it.
but we can't allow that to happen, bro.
Okay.
And this guy who's national security, his performance on the job is wide in the open right now. And if this man ain't performing, like how they're talking about performance on the job, if he's not performing, he needs to be replaced.
Okay.
That should be some serious consideration, man, when the Prime Minister get back. And thanks a lot, man. And, I wish the Federation the best. And, I'll continue to listen tonight, man.
Thanks a
Hail
lot.
up to the man, Mr. Welcome up there in New York, man, and Culture and the rest of the good guys down.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Patches, man.
Thanks a lot as well for your contribution. And you wonder if it's a question that he misspoke or is he just a misfit? A caller at 9:30. I want to thank you for holding on. Are you there, caller? Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Patches.
Yes, Miller.
Patches.
Yes, it's
This is the major.
Major.
This is the major.
Major, falling, major, falling.
How are you?
I am peaceful. Falling, major, falling.
All right, I'm gonna fall in now. I'm gonna ask you two questions. Right?
You
One. What is success? What is success?
It's a mindset. Just turn your equipment down or move away. I want the whole world to hear the major.
All right, okay.
Turn your equipment down, major. Turn your equipment
Yes, I'm going to turn it down. Hold on. You got me now?
Yeah, just move away from it. Just move away from it.
All right, I'm going to move away from it.
Listen to your telephone.
Yes, I don't know. What I am saying to you, what is success? What is success?
Major, you have...
Yes, I want the whole... I'm coming. Just let me lock off this. Let me lock it off.
Yes, please. Yeah.
You ready, Patches?
Yes, the whole world is listening to you.
All right, now let's go. What is success?
Tell the world what's success in your view.
I'm just reading, I'm just listening to all that being concentrating on it. And I was looking through I went into my library to find out certain things. And I'm speaking about, this fellow called Colin Powell.
Yes.
And what Colin Powell said about success, he said that success is a result of perfection, hard work, learning from failure, loyalty, and persistence. I think that is a good thing, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Huh?
Certainly.
Very good. Well, he was what, a general, isn't it?
Yeah, General Powell, yes. Colin Powell, yes.
Yes, well, I like him.
That's higher than the major, right?
Very powerful. Well, I had about 5 more steps to go there to reach there. I would have reached there, but as you get older, you got to relax, isn't it? Yes, and the other one, I mean, let's be serious about this, Success is the result of perfection, hard work, and learning from failures, loyalty, and persistence. You understand? And that's what Colin Powell said. But then a little thing, this is not a joke, this is serious, and I always speak about it. The great Muhammad Ali, he said, it is not the mountain ahead to climb that wears out, but is the pebble in our shoe. You understand that? You understand that?
Yes.
I want to make it emphatically clear. It is not the mountain that is ahead to climb. Is that wears us down, but is the pebble that is the thing. You know what's a pebble in your shoe? What can happen to you? You can't ever make it be when you and you always go on about your big client.
You can't walk.
Can't walk. So we have to be very careful,
Okay.
Very careful. I think about it because I was in my library today and I led him all there. I said, well, I'm going to cool Patches when he come on and hit him that day. And that's why I'm glad I get you to see you. Saying that,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Major. Fallout now.
Okay, thank you.
Major Jones, Joseph Jones. Always good to hear you, sir. It's 9:34. Our lines are open. We are discussing the topic tonight, troubling consequences from 2022 elections. And all elections do have consequences. That was the proposition or the statement made by former President Obama. And we can look at that in so many different, or from so many different perspectives. But tonight we are looking at it from several different perspectives, and I here overlooked my emails, and I want to apologize, my emailers. A pleasant good evening to you, Ambassador Patches. Daniel Ban has risen from the dead, reads this email. When Terence arrives home, he has to come before our federation and tell us what we as citizens have done him. Busi has no place at the level he gave him. You now have a front row with Rollins, front row seat, beg your pardon, with Rollins and Saunders. That is a choice of chalk and cheese. Patches, Busi cannot unsay what he said. Neither can the world unhear what we heard. Busi must be told he cannot unring the bell. If he has any character, he would have walked away from our shores and go back to whichever jungle he came from. He looks and dresses like Daniel Ban with his false Ethiopian accent. Shame on him and those who gave him that break. Good night, warrior, and be safe. Reads this email. Let's go back to the lines. Let me take this other email before I go to the lines. Advisor should be fired immediately, reads our caption this email. Good evening, Patches. If the Labour Party leadership had any principles or governed by any standards, they would have asked the National Security Advisor to resign immediately. The call of the press conference should have been to comfort and calm the country and sympathize with the mourning families. Instead, he lent support to the criminals in leaving the country to evade justice. And when he was asked to save face, he just made matters worse by asking the criminals to borrow money and run away. He should be fired immediately. That's my opinion, and I am not going to change it, reads this email. Let's go back to the lines. I'm going to thank this caller for holding the call. Are you live? Hello,
yeah, Patches. Yeah, I am here again.
Yes, sir.
Now, Patches, the Bible said, remove not the old landmark. Otherwise, you're going to run into public problems. They had no way to move Colonel Sanders from there. He was doing a great job. The more Colonel Sanders then they put somebody who knows nothing about national security. You hear how many things he call out he responsible for? I count them, 7 of them. Well, I could tell he and his 7 devils them, come out of the government headquarters, resign, buy a ticket, or borrow some money, buy a ticket, and you go away. Because you put the country here in more debt, more trauma, with what you tell those criminals, brother. You're supposed to tell them, do not get yourself in trouble. Walk away. Don't tell people about borrow money and then run away. We don't have a lot of people who kill people and they gone and the thing is send nobody to look for them. And you come in and adding on and that. And when Dr. Douglas said something before 2010 or 15 election, well, me and I jump on the back when he said it because he was wrong to say what he said. But he going 20 point tomorrow go capture new territory. We all know that. And some time ago, Mr. Parry Nevis said, let the Nevisians come over and vote. Let the guns blaze. And everybody went penny back. Me went penny back too. And I'm going pan this one year back until he rejoin and come out. Now, Patrick, you remember the leader said he was bombarded with calls from investors, said they were waiting until the Unity administration leave office and Labour take over for them to come and invest. But why he have to go where he is right now? Where he can mill them to go drink milk, go look for investors and borrow $40 million loan to come down here, come do what? That is, we got to run or put on helmet because the country, the area where he gone to borrow $40 million to come down here. Damn dear, you see what's going on up there right now? And we got to look out for our lives because they don't make no joke with the money. They don't make no joke with power sharing. They don't make no joke with territory. And he gone up there, go mingle between them. But he like it is a nice place. And I'm here enjoying the place with my lovely wife. Abusing the treasury of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. It is time petitions and region. Walk the street. Look what they're doing up there in those big countries. Anybody top position make any foolishness, they hit in the street. I get fed up a yeah.
Okay.
I'll be back. Thank you so long, brother.
Thank you very much. I'm trying to get my bearings together with this email as I am still confused. As Wusi Rollins has me confused and scared because of his appearance on television last week. I am at a loss because I cannot understand why the position Rollins holds is not taken from him immediately, because he is a disgrace to the nation. I do not understand why some of us get positions which they cannot handle, and Wusi Rollins is in a position he cannot handle. I was shocked when Wusi Rollins said the following. 1. If you commit a crime, I would suggest that you ask a friend for a loan and get off the island. Imagine to borrow money, not use your own money. It would appear as though you can commit a murder and run away from a trial. That is really a shame to the listeners and the scared persons. 2. Wusi said that we are in a good position because nobody is shooting down people in the streets and no stray bullets are killing people. Wusi said that we are not having any drive-by shootings. Wusi said we are lucky that we do not have anyone breaking into homes and raping and killing the victims. I get the impression that Wusi was giving the criminals ideas what they can do. Shoot down people on the streets and let stray bullets hit people. He's also given the idea to the criminals to break into people's homes and rape and kill the victim. This is scary and really has me on edge. I have no idea if Wusi is smoking or drinking, and his accent is very artificial. And Mr. Glassford, could you tell me how old Wusi is? My reason for asking is because I think he looks old and tired. Please read my email as I am a very upset national. I did read it. We don't skip the emails. We read all of them, even those about me. Caller, I want to thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Thank you. Thank you again, Pat. Thank you again, Pat. A lot of us is doubling up tonight. But I will yield. This will be my final conversation, even though I had 3. Now, coming back to, let me say Wusi. I don't know him, but the damages that he made to the Federation and the Prime Minister's administration, it is very, very bad. It makes the government look like a criminal entourage. And I am wondering if all the other ministers of the Labour government and supporters would not condemn what Mr. Wusi said. They are silent or they are shocked. I'm wondering. Because if I was in a leadership as such, I would have condemned what Wusi said or anybody said. So, Mr. Wusi, nice try, but not acceptable. I think you should resign, and you will learn from that mistake. That was your call. But anyway, the second observation and the second commentary I'm going to make, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis They need simple basic help. Life is too hard. All these monies that the government is spending for their joy trip or for their prospect to all over the world, they are not bringing back in anything. So I think some of what the Treasury have is to give a piece of the pie to every citizen of St. Kitts. Because if you're going to take bread out of their mouth, they're going to hungry. If they're going to be deprived of water, they're going to be thirsty. So why not turn it around and give them a share of the Federation wealth? Give everybody some money. It's not a handout. They need help. They deserve it. They need it. Not want it. They need it. So share the wealth with what's going with the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Share the wealth. Please give them something. Don't let them have to go out and break stone and then to make stones their food. Give them something. All of you are wealthy. You all have millions of dollars. Okay? These people have nothing. They have to go out every day to find something, to make something out of something. Please, government, help the people of St. Kitts. Pass a stimulus. Give every one of them. It doesn't matter who they are, what they do. Just pass a stimulus and give to the people of St. Kitts. If you don't do it, the next government to come, should I stand a chance, that's what I will do. And we will all be prosperous. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. It's now 14 before the 10 o'clock hour. And Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday from 8 to 10 in the PM. We do present a thesis each program. And tonight's thesis is titled Troubling Consequences from the 2022 elections. I'm very interested to get an update on the status of On the Lift program with this email. In the early stage, the Talk a Lot minister and her pompous peers were ever present. Now we cannot hear from them. The deadline of April 1st has come and gone, and to date, no new person can get to register. Patches, these people taking us for fools. We have heard the payments will range from $250 to $600, but everybody's mouth is now shut. Lift is like doing computer programming, full of what if. Both minister and peers should receive 3 Fs for the poor execution of the program. But again, it is sad that it suits Minister Hanley's fine, because he was to ask former Minister Wendy Phipps about the now PS. Wendy knew about the now PS. Wendy knew that the woman did not like poor people and had to drag her from social services and put her in the naughty corner. We need answers, and we need them now. Take the mess to the solid waste landfill, reads this email. And yes, just for clarification, that email I read, so we can report the facts. This is what the National Security Advisor actually said. These are his words in video here.
If you know that you're involved in the murder of someone, I would encourage you to borrow some money, buy an airline ticket, and leave the island, because it's going to cause us problems. That's as bluntly as I could say.
Well, as he seems to be saying, if you kill someone, get the bank, borrow the money, run away without paying the bank, and run away from justice. Caller, I want to thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, Patches, let me come back in, man. Let me get back in real quick, man. Following up on my colleague there from New York. Yeah, man, Dr. Drew at the round meeting last week, the man said that it's very difficult running a country. I don't know if this stuff is starting to get to him. Me personally, I believe this man has too much advisors around him. Some of these guys, they're just like extra fat. You know what I mean? They're like hangers on. You know what I mean? And they're getting paid a lot of money, and some of them are not really advising the prime minister correctly. You know what I mean? I believe definitely following up on some of your emails, you know, I'll call on the prime minister straight up to replace that national security advisor. He needs to be replaced. Definitely, man. I'm calling for the prime minister to replace that person. You know, there's an email that you read, and there's some other, you know, listeners who's echoing the same thing. I want to just come back in and say that loud and clear tonight on national radio. We gotta send a sterner message to the gangsters down. Otherwise, the crime is gonna keep going in the wrong direction. We don't want this stuff to spiral out of control, man. Y'all think is bad right now? The guns are coming in more and more. I won't be surprised he got a lot more guns than the Federation than what we think, man. We got to send a sterner message. And let me ask you a quick question, Mr. Liburd. Who was running the country at that point, man, when they had that press conference? You know, was the deputy on island? I mean, the leader and the deputies off island at the same time? I want that to be mentioned tonight, man, before you get off. And that press briefing solely should have been a police matter. That national security advisor, he needed to stay in his role as an advisor and advise. And he should have not been on that press conference. This should have been solely a police press conference. What is this man's duty? What is the commissioner's duty? We need these guys' duties to be broadcast and be known to the public. And everybody needs to work in their capacity. You know, this is a national issue. The people that's just talking, man, they man got to come in the street and demonstrate to not only the prime minister, but to all of these politicians. The people has the power in their hands. Yep. Dr. Drew need to be met at the airport by a protest and let him see that the people is not joking. But definitely, man, when he comes back, I don't know if he's back on island yet, but he needs to do something as a leader, bro.
Okay.
But in terms of crime and his own portfolio as national security minister. And thanks a lot, man. You guys have a good night, man.
Thanks a lot for your intervention as well. It's 8 before the 10 o'clock hour. As we are winding down, the National Security Advisor should be arrested as an accomplice to the crime forthwith. Reads this email. Very interesting perspective. The National Security Advisor, Dr. Rollins, is clearly not ready for this particular job. Reads this email. I have been monitoring his actions since he made the foolish comment about 1 murder per month, which means 12 murders per year. Now he is encouraging criminals to flee. Dr. Rollins needs to step down from the position for embarrassing the entire nation, reads this email. Patches, the National Security Advisor, abruptly cancelled his appearance on the radio talk show this evening after receiving a call from the National Security Minister, reads this other email. Good night, Patches. That advisor, Mr. Woosie Rollins, had no call to sit at the front table when he is just an advisor. Then he said what he said and have a nerve to apologize about what he said. What was said is what he meant. Every word out of someone's mouth is thought in the mind and comes out the mouth. Ain't no taking back of words from one's mouth. If he was reading from paper, then he would have had the correct words or phrase to say aloud on the media platform. What I take from his phrases is that it's okay for someone to murder another, reads this email. Patches, an advisor, Big Lies, asked a couple questions and got fired. The National Security Officer encourages gang members to kill and flee persecution. Would he too be fired or falls under son-in-law protection, reads this email. And this other email reads, I beg your pardon there. I have seen the NSA at various bars on the island consuming alcohol. He is known to consume a lot of alcohol. Someone pointed it out to me that he was under the influence of alcohol during the National Security Press Conference. He should resign for the sake of St. Kitts and Nevis, reads this other email. Where is Garth to file a case against the National Advisor Wusi, Dr. Jew, son-in-law? This country is in a mess. May God help us. I feel so ashamed that after all the BS from the advisor, it was such an embarrassment. We are going down a road of destruction under this Labour government. Every week it's a new episode of a horrible movie. Health messed up, the PS fired or sent on leave. JNF dead getting mixed up. No MRI meshes. CBI gone down the drain, no coming back on the Labour. No answer about the number of passports sold after so many years. Crime, murder after murder every week, no solution. Life hard on the Labour. We need fresh elections, reads this email. Patches, I would like you to suggest to Wusi to hand in his resignation and to check into a home for old people. I am of the impression that Wusi is crazy. I would like to know, where is Denzel Douglas? Is he still part of the government, as we are not hearing anything? When you look at the three persons on the press conference, they look like three blind mice, reads this email. And this other email reads at 4 before the 10 o'clock hour. Good night, Patches. The security personnel, Wusi, is he saying that after committing a murder, you must borrow money from a bank and skip the country? This man is a square peg in a round hole. He should do the right thing and resign. Shame on you, reads this email. My Street Dog family, it's 4 minutes or 3 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour. Before the 10 o'clock hour, what am I saying, dear My Street Dog family? And it is very interesting that someone asked that question just now. But someone sent me this, and I promised not to call his name. And although the general, the big General Bugner, knows who sent me this, right? But someone asked Dr. Douglas about the comments from the National Security Advisor. And would you believe what Douglas said? He said this, my Street Dog family. This is what Douglas said. Believe me, Douglas said that when he heard the comments from the National Security Advisor and what is going on with his government. This is what Douglas said. I say, what? You can read that yourself, my Street Dog family. It is true. I got that confirmed. And as we wind down tonight's programming, there's some other things that the National Security Advisor said. And he spoke as well about trust. He told the gang members this as well, my Street Dog family.
In every police organization, there's a small percentage of people who cannot be trusted. And I'm saying it. We don't know who they are. It's not just here. You go to New York, it's the same. In New York, it's about 20%. In Scotland Yard, in the UK, it's about 30%. But we do know that we know police force anywhere in the world is perfect. And so there's a little element of distrust and mistrust. So I'm saying, if you have some information that you want to impart on us, that you know someone is about to go and do a retaliatory kill on someone else, if you don't want to call the commissioner or you don't want to speak to the commander of defense force, see me, tell me. I'm impartial one way or the other. I don't care about whether you are this way or that way. I care about the safety and security of the citizens of the Federation. That is my job.
And my Shredog family, he also said this as well.
We don't even get shot from stray bullets. That is how safe we are. And
the country is safe. That's what he's saying. And remember, for full disclosure, the National Security Advisor said this, my Straight Talk family.
Good day, citizens and residents. Lionel von Frederick Rollins is my name, and I am the National Security Advisor. During a press conference of the Ministry of National Security on Friday, April the 19th, I misspoke, and for that I apologize. What I intended to say was, if you are thinking about committing a murder, you should buy a plane ticket and leave the island. I will never encourage anyone or any criminal to abscond or flee from justice. Again, I apologize for the misunderstanding.
Well, the question is, being asked, is whether Lionel Bussy von Frederick Rollins misspoke or whether he is a misfit. And as we wrap tonight's program in my Street Dog family, troubling consequences from the 2022 elections and the unethical governance of the Federation, as I mentioned earlier, is foremost in the minds of citizens and residents as the promises made by the Labour administration whilst in opposition overemphasize issues such as good governance, integrity in public life, transparency, and accountability. But whether we voted or not, a lot of other issues continue to impact all of us negatively, like housing, health, education, the economy, and the scourge of crime. As we have seen from the undeniable facts, 21 months thereafter are troubling consequences from the August 2022 elections. There is a great fear that these consequences that are being felt today, 21 months after the election, if not properly addressed without delay, they will ultimately become a burden for our children and our children's children in the months and many years to come. And my Straight Dog family, it is said that we had a team of experts. And remember, he said very early that they do have a team filled with experts. But instead of a team filled with experts, someone commented that the 2022 elections have produced a team of incompetent buffoons who do not have a clue what they are doing. Another comment that I have heard suggests that this team led by Dr. Drew have come across as a bunch of annoyingly and shallow leaders who are so unprepared and inappropriate to be at the helm of this country during these difficult times. But what can you expect? Someone asks, and someone declared. Just listen to the Deputy Prime Minister, and you will know, you can tell what's happening inside the government. Because the Deputy Prime Minister, my Straight Dog family, sums it all up. What's happening in this government.
I told you how I started off as a slow student. I went to 1A4, 2A4, 3G7, 4G6, 5th Farm, 5G6. And guess what? I repeated. So I was in school for quite a while.
And my Straight Dog family, This government is not only slow, it is topsy-turvy, as we say, and so poorly organized and continues to give importance to unexpected things. Take, for example, our health system. The focus and priority is on the morgue. Caller, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. I'm really rapping, but I'll give you 30 seconds since you're there. Can you use it? Hello, caller?
I will try to finish in 29. I will try to finish in 29 seconds.
Try your best.
Fact is, I hope I'm not breaking protocol of your show. But I am calling upon the 11th constituency of St. Kitts and Nevis. If you think, anyone who think they can lead a country with good moral understanding, I am calling upon you to join my party, Dignity, and we will take this country to where it should be, for the namesake of dignity to you and for all, that you will not be regretted. I cannot accept the way the country is running, and I need candidates to join in a new party, a fresh party, and let's fire all the recycled members of government for next election. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. I wish you well. But as we wind down, my Straight Talk family, in closing, I submit that ethical governance and more general issues like housing and public education will directly impact all of us, whether we vote or not. Elections have consequences, said President Barack Obama. But it's the words of another former president that resonate with me 21 months after the August 6, 2022 election, I should say. Yes, the words of President John F. Kennedy resonate with me. And he said, and I quote, "The ignorance of one voter in a democracy impairs the security of all." My Straight Dog family, our democracy has failed us since August 2022. As this July administration introduced a new system of government by less than half of the population and not by the whole population. My Straight Dog family, think about democracy. They say it's a system of processing conflicts in which outcomes depend on what participants do. No single force controls what occurs or controls the outcomes. So I must end tonight, my Straight Dog family, with the National Security Advisor and remind you that he said he spoke to two gang leaders, my Straight Dog family. He said this.
Days ago, I spoke with two young men. They are basically guys from the gang subculture and some of the leaders in the gang subculture. What did he tell me? He said, when he was a boy, he knew he was going to be a gangster. When he was a boy, he knew he was going to be a gangster. When I asked him, how did you know you're going to be a gangster? He said everybody wanted to be in a gang. All the guys who had guns and cars had the girls and had the money. I knew that's what I wanted. Today, he's one of the leaders in the gangs, he and his friend. Didn't anybody notice that these guys were going to be gangsters?
My Straight Dog family, the National Security Advisor told us what the gang leaders told him. But the big question is, what did the National Security Advisor tell the gang leaders? The NSA obviously said this to the gang leaders. He told them that the buck stops with him. He said this.
National Security Advisor, crime and violence is just one of the many areas of my portfolio. Falling under my portfolio is basically anything that affects the safety and security of the Federation falls under my responsibility. So, health security, energy security, water security, food security, cyber security, human security, immigration, anything that affects us falls under my capacity. But right now we have a situation where our crime and violence is not doing so well. I'm going to take full responsibility for that because it falls onto me, and as the person at the top, leadership says I will take responsibility.
Yes, my Stray Dog family. He told them the buck stops with him. Leadership demands that. Remember, my Stray Dog family, that the National Security Advisor predicted 1 murder per month. Yes, he did, my Stray Dog family.
If we had 1 murder a month for 2024, as terrible as it sounds, we will only have 12.
And you know, my Stray Dog family, he said he was taken out of context.
There are people who I believe maybe they go to bed at nights hoping and wishing that somebody will get killed so they can openly rejoice about it. We should be in pain when somebody gets killed. When one of our young men is murdered, we shouldn't be exploiting it for political expediency or for whatever reason. And I'm sure by the end of the day, you will see some quote about what I said taken out of context and used for some kind of political expediency.
And the view is, my Stray Dog family, finally, to ensure that he keeps within his target of 12 murders for 2024, the National Security Advisor inadvertently spilled his beans just as if he was high on joy juice. My Stray Dog family. This is the view of many people when the National Security Advisor said this.
If you know that you're involved in the murder of someone, I would encourage you to borrow some money, buy an airline ticket, and leave the island. Because it's going to cause us problems. That's as bluntly as I could say.
And my Stray Dog family, finally, there's a view that that apology is a lame one. He condoned murder, encouraged criminals to borrow money from the bank and run away. Worse yet, he encouraged criminals to evade justice. Caller, I can only give you 10 seconds, no more than that. Can you use it?
Yes. Mr. Liburd.
Yes.
Definitely, the last thing I want to say tonight is if these 11 parliamentarians think that they're going to just give themselves a fat raise and don't perform on the job, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis really need to start considering replacing all of them in the next general election. And that's my thing for tonight, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for being guided by brevity. And much more, in closing, my Stray Dog family, an apology is needed. That is the general view. Mr. National Security Advisor and Mr. Minister of National Security and Prime Minister, if the country does not get more than an apology, then we can only look forward to an increase in the troubling consequences from the 2022 elections. That's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight as always. I want to thank you, the many listeners, those who sent emails, and those of you who just listen, those of you who called. I want you to remember that you are the ones who make straight talk, and for that I say a big thank you. I've seen some belated emails, and I want to accommodate them. Patches have been looking at the faces of the other two gentlemen. They were laughing at Wussy reads this email. Good night, Patches. Lord, that man is sorry for him. Resign, please. Reads this other email. And this final email. Good night, Patches. It's fairness to the NSA. He truly misspoke. If you were to take the statement in context, you would realize that the discussion was highlighting the suggestion that homicides being committed are retaliation murders. The NSA was therefore trying to say that if anyone knew that they had committed a murder, they should leave the island in order to avoid the retaliation. If, in any event, this advice will still be very wrong. He should be telling the perpetrators to give up themselves rather than try to evade retaliatory action by their enemies. And my time is done, and I gotta run. I want to connect with you on Thursday, God's spare. And until such time, I want you to be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. I want you to remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Street Dog family, keep moving on. Bye-bye until we connect on Thursday.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could.